What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to something very interesting that happened at the recent G7 summit between Mark Carney and Donald Trump. Apparently, the two of them were talking to each other and, kind of off the record. But some of their conversation got caught on a microphone, like nearby, that they didn't really know about. So I'm actually very curious to see what they said to each other, because let's be honest here, the United States and Canada have had a pretty strained relationship, right now, to say the least. So this could be very, very insightful. So let's take a look.
Yeah, isn't it funny?
Even with everything that's happened, Prime Minister Mark Carney and President Donald Trump are still able to smile and chat during a friendly stroll at the G7 in France.
I hope it is a friendly chat. That's a bit presumptuous to say, perhaps, but maybe we'll hear for ourselves. But I think it's a good thing, because from what I've seen recently, the United States has not been doing a good job communicating with Canada, because we have like a big trade agreement we're supposed to be negotiating, talking about, discussing. Um, and that hasn't really gone anywhere. And so maybe this was like a good opportunity at this G7 for like Canada and the US, Trump and Carney to kind of like talk, because they're physically in the same place. So it's going to happen.
In the peculiar language of summits, this is called the family photo. And like every family, this one has disagreements.
Yeah.
Most of the frank talk is done discreetly or behind closed doors, but sometimes an unnoticed microphone can tell a story.
An unnoticed microphone. I just gotta say, this is such a weird, there's something weird about seeing all the world leaders and Donald Trump just kind of existing. Like, normally you see them, like, in highlights or, like, reading a prepared speech or, but they're just kind of, like, walking around. Like, they're just people, That's good to remember. There's Trump. Nobody's really talking to him. So, all right. So there's microphones all around this kind of event, and so what got caught?
This one caught the Prime Minister speaking to the President about a deal Canada cut with China that the U.S. does not like. Carney assures Trump that Canada's deal to let Chinese EVs into the country is just 3% of the total market, and that there's a hard import cap of 49,000 vehicles.
What?
I thought you'd actually like it.
What is what? Um, this is interesting. And they're even like leaning in real close, like you're not supposed to be in on this. So this is interesting. Mark Carney went up to Donald Trump, who's again sitting alone. So it's actually, I'm sure Donald Trump would like tell you, like, yeah, at these G7 meetings, yeah, I can't get a moment's peace. Everybody wants to talk to me. It's like, I don't know. Looking at the video here, it's like, if you want to go up and talk to Trump, he's open. Nobody's really wants to do it. That's what I'm seeing here. And he's pretending to read like the pamphlet or the dinner menu or something to make it look like he's doing something. But so Mark Carney took his chance, went up and started telling Trump, not even asking him a question, telling him a fact about the China Canada electric vehicle deal, which was like a big thing that Donald Trump had a big problem with. He's made tweets about this. This is a drama between Trump and Canada. Yes, where Trump is very, very, very mad that Canada is doing business with China, and he thinks China is going to take advantage, and that, which is so hypocritical, so preposterous, so ridiculous from our point of view to say something like that, for one thing, because the United States does so much trade and with China, and we rely on them for so much. That's totally fine. But as soon as Canada does it, it's a huge problem. You're being taken advantage of. You don't know what you're doing. Oh, okay. So it's really a bunch of nonsense and very hypocritical. So Mark Carney, let's hear this one more time, decided to go up and address that sort of drama that's happening.
and that there's a herd
Oh, hold on.
does not like. Carney assures Trump that Canada's deal to let Chinese EVs into the country is just 3% of the total market.
So it's funny because I don't know if this is like something strategic Mark Carney came up with, if he just thought of this right there. Probably, to be honest, knew he was going to do this well ahead of time. Like, he knew the G7 meeting was coming up, and he knew he'd have an opportunity to say something to Donald Trump. You have to think that this is very calculated. I think that. I think he's a smart guy who knows exactly what he's doing and what he wants to try to do. So he very carefully decided to say, I mean, why specifically about the electric vehicle China thing? Of all the things? That's interesting. I didn't know that was like so substantial that that's what he would talk about, but he is telling Donald Trump that Canada has a limit on how much trade with electric vehicles you're doing with China. So he's kind of playing into Trump, like saying, don't be mad, don't be so bent out of shape, because we're not even doing that much trade with China. So he's trying to like get on Trump's good side. There's no way. He's trying to tell him what he wants to hear, basically.
And that there's a hard import cap of 49,000 vehicles.
And there's a hard cap. Canada's only bringing in 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles. Shouldn't Trump like already know this? Of course he doesn't know this. Of course he's not up to date on. He makes policy decisions around all of this stuff, but he probably did not know that, to be fair. Is this going to like change Trump's attitude towards Canada or the electric vehicles? I don't know if it's that simple. But I guess Mark Carney just felt compelled to like at least tell him some like the truth of something that Donald Trump is getting very, very, very mad about and maybe blowing out of proportion. Maybe Mark Carney felt compelled to rein in Trump's perspective and be like, "Do you understand this is like a pretty small thing we're doing that you're getting very mad about?" So, maybe that was a smart thing to do. I don't know. I didn't know that it was so important to address this in particular.
I thought you'd actually like it.
I like the. That's good. I like that. Mark Carney doing a good job of like. He's like sort of like a Trump whisperer at this point. Like he knows. He knows what to say, like how to say it. Like he's not telling Trump that, oh, you're gonna like this. But he's planting the seed in Trump's mind, like it was Trump's idea. Trump thinks it's his idea that he likes it. Carney's like, I thought you'd actually kind of like that. And Trump's like, yeah, I do. I like it. That's good. I like so kind of like subtly manipulating him, I guess.
This shouldn't surprise anybody.
Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc shrugged it off, saying the points the Prime Minister was making are widely known. He also revealed that
That's what I was thinking. Isn't this kind of stuff like known? I'm sure it is. I'm sure if you want to know, especially if you're the US president. And like, if you want to know the statistics on Canada's trade deals with China, you can probably get them. It's not secret. But Carney accurately knows Trump probably doesn't know all those things.
He and his lead negotiator met with U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer.
Janice Charette and I had a long and we think constructive meeting with Ambassador Greer. It very much builds on the
Okay.
work we did with him in Washington on June 2nd.
At that meeting, the two sides worked through a list of 36 issues the U.S. had raised.
Oh, okay. So I think I heard a little about this. There was a Canadian trade ambassador came to Washington, had a good discussion. I think immediately after Trump started threatening 10% tariffs on Canada, it was like a huge, like, sort of middle finger in a way. As right after that meeting, if I'm not mistaken. So, but the interaction between Donald Trump and Mark Carney there was interesting. It's interesting seeing them like interact in real life, you know? Even though it's all like a political sort of circus anyway, nothing's really real, or it's hard to be genuine in politics, but that's probably as close as you get, catching them off guard like that when they're kind of whispering to each other. But I want to take a look at this. This just came out. Trump talking about this hot mic moment between him and Carney. Someone actually asked him about this.
The hot mic moment at the G7 where the Canadian Prime Minister was talking to you about their Chinese car cap, and he said you like it. Can you comment on that?
What?
The cap that Canada put on Chinese car imports. You were talking about it with Carney.
Well,
what do you think of that?
I don't know that I said I like it, but I could understand that, yeah.
What? What do you mean? You don't know you said that? You don't even remember? You don't even remember that happening? Do you even know that you were at the G7 summit? Do you remember it at all? What do you mean you don't remember what another world leader said to you? He came over and whispered it in your ear. Your deformed ear with the bullet scar or whatever. Maybe he can't hear out of it so well anymore. I don't know. But he says he probably would have said something like this. Just to me, this just makes it like reaffirms my thoughts that he doesn't take a lot of this stuff very seriously.
Is that
A
factor?
cap? Would I rather see a cap than no cap? Yeah, I would. On Canada.
Would the U.S. ever consider allowing Chinese cars?
Well, we haven't. They pay over 100% tariff, so we don't have the problems that Europe has, or Canada.
How long do you hope USMCA negotiations or review go on?
Well, it's not something that's, to me, I think it's better without it, I mean, to be honest with you. I'm not.
What did he say? Because this is the massive trade deal between Canada and the United States that's up for renegotiation. Did he just say we're all better off without it? Is that what... I feel like he hasn't said anything like this. This is like very important. What?
A big fan of it. I liked it because it got us out of NAFTA. In other words, after 6 years, you had to close it, got us out of NAFTA. That's the thing I liked about it most. We do better without an agreement.
Do you want to just leave it in rolling?
I'm sure Donald Trump would love to not have an agreement, because when you don't have a trade deal, when you don't agree to a set of terms about international trade, then you can just do all stuff like threatening tariffs, stuff like embargoes and tariffs. Then you can threaten all that stuff and do it because it's not violating your trade deal. So of course he would like to not have it. That actually makes sense now. It's not good.
I would rather leave it unsigned. I'd rather have it terminated.
You'd rather have it terminated? No, those are different things, sir. I just want to be clear.
I would rather not have the agreement, but I may sign it.
Right.
But we do better as a country if we don't have an agreement.
So are you thinking
We do better as a country because we've been doing so. Everyone knows how great the United States is doing right now. Oh, paradise is great. Utopia. Yeah. So good. So very good. So, without a trade deal, that would literally have enormous ramifications on what kind of trade is happening between the United States and Canada. He's kind of acting like this isn't a huge deal. This is a huge deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe we won't be able to make a deal. I would rather not have the USMCA. The primary reason I wanted it was because there was no way out of NAFTA, which was the worst trade agreement ever made, like ever. And they had no termination. And it was very hard to get USMCA for that reason. And I had a 6-year clause. Who would have thought I would have been here in the 6 years? They got it 6 years because they hoped I wouldn't be here. My term was supposed to be over with. So on top of everything else it comes to, I would prefer.
This is just borderline rambling at this point. He likes it. He liked it because it got us out of a different trade deal or so. So at least he's being open about this. I just don't know. This is a pretty big deal, what he's saying. If this is, and again, it just feels like sometimes, or a lot of the time, he's coming up with monumental U.S. trade policy decisions just on the fly. Just like in the parking lot here. Like, I don't think we're going to sign that deal. I might sign it. Or terminate it, or, where am I? Huh?
Not having an agreement, but I'm open to doing it. We'll see what happens.
So as of now, it's just going to.
You're open, you want it terminated, but you're open to it. Okay, so in typical Trump fashion, it's very difficult to, get any kind of like insight at, like, he basically said it could go one way or the other. So that's not very helpful. This was interesting, though. Seeing the interaction between Mark Carney and Donald Trump kind of showed their relationship, their dynamic, where it's like Mark Carney trying to control the crazy, unpredictable wildebeest of Donald Trump and like steer him in the right direction. But then he comes barging out into this parking lot talking about how he doesn't want anything to do with the Canadian trade deal. So that this showed me a couple of very interesting things, but it's really left me with a lot of questions now. So I guess here soon in the future we're gonna figure out where all of this is headed. But this was interesting and confusing. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on Trump and Carney and their little discussion and the trade deal, and we're in limbo and no one knows, not even Donald Trump knows what's going to happen. The president, huh? That'd be interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian things that I haven't seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.